Okay, this live lecture is talking about the arterial circulation of upper and lower extremities. Lesson objectives: location and function of arteries. I'm sorry, I say artillery. That's military stuff. I'm sorry. Arteries of the upper extremities, and where these arteries carry the oxygenated blood. And again, yet again, I do apologize if you hear me clearing my voice or what have you. I'm just dealing with, I don't know, either allergies or a cold or so. I'm just trying to make the best of it. All right, as I did in the other lecture, again, showing the heart and the aorta distributing oxygenated blood throughout the aorta, throughout the body. All right. Also, in a previous lecture, and man, I apologize. I feel almost embarrassed. I kept on saying bifurcate. Long story, but no, it's actually bifurcate. I had to actually double check on that. So I don't know why I was pronouncing it bifurcate, but actually bifurcate. Maybe I said bifurcate because maybe I probably heard, some people use that term, but bifurcate. Nonetheless, again, the splitting of the two or forking off. All right, so this is bifurcate. The highway has bifurcated there, so bifurcate. Bifurcate. I apologize for before. All right, arterial bifurcation right here. Bifurcate. Okay. All right, arteries of the upper extremity, blood flow order. All right, so again, this is the artery, and we talked about it, and I think it was in a previous lecture when we talked about the heart and vessels. Again, this artery has 3 sections. All right, so that's one section, second section, and third section: tunica extrema, tunica media, tunica intima. All right, and that's again part of the artery. So again, the artery is just a big vessel, pretty wide in diameter, of course, comparatively speaking to arterioles and definitely capillaries that carry blood. All right, arterial blood flow order from the aorta, right, to the right subclavian, bringing oxygenated blood to the arm. So I just put these numbers here, guys, for just a, kind of more so, I guess, like in order and flow. So when the oxygenated blood leaves the heart, going through the aorta, all right, and then it's going through what we call this, and then it's going to first hit the subclavian artery. After the subclavian artery, it goes, and then we just kind of change the name, in a sense, the axillary artery. After that, the deep, all right, bronchial artery, all right, bronchial artery, and then fifth, the radial artery. And I had fifth here, the ulna, the radius and ulna, that's basically just bones. So those are just the arteries just going along with the bones. I put them both at fifth because I don't know how it can be measured where that, okay, blood's going to reach this one before this one. It's possible, but I just kind of put them fifth because both those bones are side by side. All right, and again, as the blood is flowing to bring oxygen to the rest of the arm, deep palmar arch, superficial palmar arch, and the digitals. Again, bringing oxygenated blood to these areas, all right, so that basically the red blood cells can dump off the oxygen, pick up carbon dioxide. You're bringing oxygen, and you're picking up the carbon dioxide and other waste products to be removed. All right. So again, the axillary artery carries blood to upper limbs. Bronchial artery. It's just simply a continuation, all right, of the axillary artery. Right? Main supplier of blood to the arm and hand. So that's pretty much the order as it leaves the aorta. I found this is kind of also another thing that I thought that might be pretty helpful. It's just pretty much just repeating and saying the same thing that I mentioned, or that it's just kind of in that order. And this is the reason why I put the ulna and the radius kind of in fifth place, if you will, because they break off and they're pretty much receiving the oxygenated blood more or less at the same time. This is just another schematic that I found. I don't know, some of you might find it helpful, some may not, but again, aortic arch, so coming from the left ventricle, aortic arch, going up ultimately to the subclavian, right axillary, right bronchial, right radial, right ulna, and then the palmar and digitalis area. And of course, the same is going to happen on the left side, because of course you got two sides, your right arm and your left arm. Okay, deep brachial artery, all right, or sometimes we call it the profunda artery. Profunda, probably it's probably like might be a Latin word. I know it's a Spanish word. We use it often. I think profunda. If you're talking about something that's deeper thing, a lot of times we say profunda. So basically, it's just an artery that's a little further deeper in the arm, and a lot of the main arteries, a lot of times might be a little bit deeper in the arm. Why? You don't want them on the surface, because on the surface, say if you get cut or something like that, and then that's increased likelihood for a person to be, to bleed out. So if you're going to get cut, it's going to have to be a deeper cut, and actually to gain access to the brachial artery, as opposed to if it's on the surface. If it's just like a slight minor cut and it pierces the brachial artery, you're gonna have problems. And then again, like I said, arterial network found in the palm. That's the deep palmar arch, and found predominantly by the ulnar artery, and that's the superficial palmar arch. All right, I think that's pretty much talking about the same thing here. Okay, it's kind of interesting. As far as the blood pressure cuff, all right, that is actually, this cuff right here is actually placed over to measure the pressure of the brachial artery. All right, so when you receive a blood pressure cuff, it's actually measuring the brachial artery that's right here in this area. And then using the radial artery, right, that's down around in this area. Say someone's taking a pulse, the radial artery right there, all right. So that's the radial artery where that person can use to actually take a pulse. Also, there's, you can also take the pulse in someone's neck as well. That's probably, at least for me, that's a better way, because I can feel the pulse a little bit better in the neck than on the wrist. All right, so let's look at the lower extremity. All right, so again, this is just the lower extremity, and again, blood's coming from the descending aorta, and it's just simply being distributed out through both sides of the leg, again, bringing oxygenated blood to the necessary parts that are needed in order for the leg, for the cells that's in the leg to survive. The cells survive, the tissues survive. So that is very important. And so we'll get a little bit more specific into that. All right, so the large artery in the thigh and the main arterial supply, that's a femoral artery. A lot of times, maybe if doctors want to look at something that's going on with the heart, a lot of times they may inject something, or maybe a tube or something like that, going through the femoral artery, all right, to reach the descending aorta and then to go upward into the heart. But that's the femoral artery, pretty big, pretty thick, and that's the main supplier of blood to the leg. So that's going to branch off. You have the femoral artery, And of course, ultimately, that's going to bring, like I said, just supply of blood, oxygenated blood to the leg. And then you have the anterior tibial artery, carries blood to the anterior component of the leg, and the dorsal. Remember the dorsal, anterior dorsal. Remember, so kind of as I use these terms, and dorsal is kind of the back. But as I use these terms, just kind of think about the body planes that you learned earlier this academic quarter. So that's important to review that. And then the dorsius pedis arterial, that simply just carries oxygenated blood to the dorsal surface of the foot. So again, like I said before, bringing oxygenated blood and servicing the needs, oxygen needs of the leg.